from that read, within 30 seconds, I know those 10 pairs exactly how I'm going to trade each one. I'll sit there, wait for the London Open, sometimes start a little bit before the London Open, but once it kicks in, then I know what I'm looking for, and I've got set criteria where I can take a position, take it long if it's on the way up.
Sitting down today in Bangkok with Kevin Hunt, one of the traders and coaches at Desire to Trade. It's gonna be fun to talk about his story, how he began trading, how he kind of went through different phases of trading, how he was able to eventually go full-time and live in Thailand. So Kevin, good to have you here. I look forward to kind of catch up and see what your story's been like.
Good to be here. Fantastic views as well as I'm looking around. Good to be here, Etienne. Good to see you again.
Definitely. You were on the podcast a few years back. It's been so long. I think we tried to have you again a few years back and it didn't work with the audio and the recording.
That's right, yeah.
So it kind of sucks, but good to have you here. And I want to kind of maybe have you introduce yourself, tell people a bit more about what you do these days.
What am I doing these days? Yeah. Okay, pretty diverse now we're living here, but life is so much sweeter, it really is now we're living in Thailand full time. So a typical day for me is regarding trading. I won't go through all the background stuff, but I'll sit down 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll take a first look at Trading View, something to do with my crypto that I'm doing at the moment. And then a bit later on, depending on what I'm going to do, I'm just starting to get into the stock trading using your methods. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a coach now with Desire to Trade, and absolutely honest, I'm still learning the methods myself. I can sit and teach people about the mindset, which I've been doing since 2015, but the actual methods themselves, I'm working alongside you with them and building my knowledge and ability with them. But my day trading and my red news trading, if there's any red news coming out, Australian red news early in the morning, I'll be ready for that. I'll sit down in my office and trade that. If I'm going to do my day trading, my Forex day trading, then I'll sit down around about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:30 in the afternoon, flick through the charts, have a look, trade the session. Sometimes we'll be out doing things here, as we so often are, and then I'll maybe trade the New York session. So of course that's evening time, 9 o'clock, 9:30, and I'll sit down in the evening, go through my charts and do that. Fact is, I'm trying to move away from that, and I'm of a similar mindset where you don't want to be sitting in front of a chart for too long.
Yeah.
It's nice to be able to get out and enjoy this beautiful country that we're living in and the many days of sunshine. And so I want to spend less time in front of the charts. And my escape, it's going to be trading trading your methods, whether it be on Forex or whether it be on stock trading, because we can do both with those methods.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go back in time and have you tell people how you began trading and what was that first experience with trading that you had?
Okay, how long have you got? I'll keep it short. So I was in business in England, did extremely well, lost everything through a rogue business partner, and then decided, okay, I've got to start from scratch. And I was devastated. I ended up coming to Thailand for a holiday with a friend of mine who lives over here. And when I came away from this place, I just knew that I wanted to make it my home, but I just felt I needed to. It was like, this is the place I needed to be. I didn't know how I was going to do it. It was the flight on the way home back to England that I met my now wife. And from there, that was it. We decided we were going to move to Thailand after a while. But of course, I needed to find a way. I was making a living in England, and I had to be in England to make that living. And it was while we were on holiday one time here, visiting my wife's family, that I stumbled across Forex trading, messed about with it a little bit, blew up a few live accounts, and then I got to a point where I started studying it seriously, found a method that worked for me, Forex day trading, flat the market every day, no overnight risk, no weekend risk, and I started doing that. Of course, starting with a small fund, I was struggling after having so much wealth and losing all of that, and then going back to nothing. I had to build gradually, and at the same time, I'm looking at a way of being able to afford a place here, buy a bit of land, build a house. That's what I wanted to do. So we gradually built, and I must admit, I did pretty well with crypto. Bitcoin was very, very kind to us, and it was pretty much that paid for our land and our house. So moving on from that, trading from 2015, that's when I really started taking the Forex day trading serious, and I started to become consistent with it, seeing my capital grow, and it got to a point where I said to Pook, look, living here in England, I still need to go out to work and trade because the capital wasn't big enough to give us the income we needed. But we got to a point where we had the money to buy our land and a house. So we're living here rent-free now, which is fantastic. And we have been we're in our 7th year now. And with the trading, it got to a point where it wouldn't have been enough for a full-time income in England, but here in Thailand, it's more than enough. And so that's what we did. We bit the bullet in 2019, and we come to live here. And of course, that money that I'm earning became more than enough to live on. So the capital's building gradually, and we're living here in this paradise. And that's how I did it. That's how I actually fell into it and became a full-time trader.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Tell me about taking that step from moving to Thailand and going full-time trading. Was it hard for you to do? Did you have any doubts at this point?
It's terrifying. It really is. Because growing up in Southeast London the way I did, I'll be honest with you, I used to live in Southeast London and I used to feel like a duck out of water even if I went across the north side of the River Thames. It was strange. I was living in this area and you become very insular. Your friends and people around you are there. Yeah. And it was only, I had a holiday in India before I met my wife and then coming here to Thailand, and you start to see a different way of life and realise that there's so much more than what I had back in England. And so it wasn't really scary knowing that I was going to be moving away from the UK because I was with someone who had family here and links here. I wasn't moving here on my own, but the fact that in England I could turn my hand to most things. You know, I was I had my own IT company, which was very successful. I've been self-employed since I was 17 years old. I've always worked for myself. I never liked having a boss. And I could always find a way to make a living. And I could do that quite easily in England, doing this, doing that. Here in Thailand, it's very different. I can't get up now and think, right, okay, well, I can see an opportunity there and go and start working. You just can't do that. Yeah. So earning money here is very different. You can't go out and get the typical kind of self-employed job. Trading's okay, I've already checked that out with everyone, lawyers and everyone, so I'm fine doing this. And so this is what I'm depending on, trading. This is my sole income. So sure, it's terrifying. And one thing that really highlighted that, like I said, I was a London taxi driver. I had my licensed London taxi driver's bill, and if anything went wrong, I had that when I was here, when we moved to Thailand. You have to renew it every 3 years. The last time it came up for renewal, I'm saying to my wife, look, I need to get this renewed. I got in touch with the licensing authority. They said, well, you've got to come back to England. You can't have any medical anywhere. You've got to come back to your own personal doctor. At that point, I realised I was going to lose my taxi driver's licence. If I kept that, I could have flown from here to Heathrow, England. I could have phoned a friend of mine, got a taxi delivered for me, and I would have been at work that minute and earning good money. Without the taxi driver's licence, I couldn't do that. And it was kind of terrifying. That safety net was gone. So in a way, you sometimes need these challenges. You need to break out of that fear sector. And it's then that you really test yourself and you realise how able you are. And it's that gave me a massive amount more confidence in my trading. So, yeah, it was that, but it was terrifying. I'll be honest with you. It was absolutely terrifying knowing that this was going to be our sole income. But then suddenly it's like, what does it matter? We'll come down to Bangkok and visit Etienne for a few days. We're going to go from here to the islands. We're going to have a bit of a holiday around this, probably be away for a couple of weeks. And you can do that. Still do the trading while I'm there. It's just a totally different lifestyle. It really is. And that helps with the fear factor.
Yeah. What would you tell people that want to trade full-time and they're not sure if they should jump in and do it now? Should they just jump in and do it and figure it out from there? Or is there something they got to plan or prepare first?
It depends on the individual.
Yeah.
Friends of mine, they've always been employed and they couldn't imagine having the guts to open their own company and be self-sufficient. It depends on the individual. If you've got a safe job, a steady job, and you feel that you need that, especially if you've got a family, a mortgage and everything else, of course, you can't be reckless and just go, oh, forget that, I'm going to take a chance on this trading. Those kind of people, they do need to find a way of trading as well as keeping a full-time job initially. I'm not talking about permanently, but you'll get to a point, if you work hard and you study enough, you'll get to a point where you can give up the day job and just do the trading and have this lifestyle, any lifestyle. But some people, you know, especially I'd say younger people, single people who haven't got those commitments, they could have a go if they wanted, I suppose. You know what I mean? They could just go for it. And if it doesn't work out for them, then they can go back into whatever they were doing before or look for something new. It depends on the individual, I think. Yeah.
You can take a bit more risk, definitely. But it does help to, at some point, you have to make a jump. I think it's really hard to You cannot have everything perfect, have all the conditions lined up to be ready to do it.
Absolutely right. It seems it's never the right moment, never the right moment.
Yeah.
Wait till I get this, wait till I get that. But one thing I will say though, is looking at what's available with Desire to Trade and the trading methods, sure, you can go all in today. You can scalp where you've got to sit in front of the charts, and you've really got to focus on it. Or you've got to set and forget, where you can have your full-time job. You can do that, and you can still study during your spare time, and you can work with that trading method and become successful with that. So the options are there, whether you're this person who can't break away from that day job, you need that income, or if you're a bit of a go-getter and a bit of a free spirit like I was, you can do that as well and just give it all up and just go full-time on the trading. So it really does depend on the individual, it really does.
Tell me about your trading style, what you look for in the market these days.
Okay, well, for me now, because we're spending a lot of time traveling and I like to keep my time free, so I could do the day trading and sit down at a specific time for a certain amount of time. Day trading, I might be sitting there for 30 minutes. If the markets move quick and the momentum's there, I can get in and out 30 minutes, no problem at all. But there's times when it's a bit slow. You might have a few losses and you're going to be pulling those back. You could be sitting there for 3 hours. And right at this moment in time, I don't really have that time. We're just doing too many other things. But news trading works really well, simply because if I walk into my office and I look on my whiteboard and there's a news event coming up, I can sit down. I know that there's going to be a news event. This is something that I really like about news trading, the fact that in trading, you never know. These people who say, euro's going to do this or pound's going to... They haven't got a clue. We know that.
Yeah.
It's a probability and they're guessing. But with news trading, what you do know is that because of the news calendar, you know that at a given time, the pound or the US dollar or the Japanese yen is going to do something. It's almost like a bit of pre-warning. It might not move much, it might not be a tradable event, but at least you know that at, say, 8 o'clock in the evening, Thai time, there's a US dollar news event coming out. And you can sit down, be ready for it, bang, the news hits, you might get in, you might not, but at least you know there's something happening then. So right now, red news trading is the be all and end all for me, really. It's something I really enjoy. You can make good money really, really quickly, sticking to your risk parameters. And so that's what I really enjoy. If we're at home and it's a bit of a nothing day, I'll sit down and I'll do my my day trading, London session, or if I'm going to have a late night, and it is a late night, we usually go to bed very early here in Thailand, but I'll sit down and maybe do the New York session, maybe, predominantly. But like I say, that is going to shift soon. And I'm also confident as well it's going to shift, working with the strategy regarding the stocks and set and forget and everything else that I'm learning through your methods. So it's going to give me another option as well, I can sit down and do the day trading. Predominantly, red news trading is my main thing at the moment, but I'm looking to move more into what I'm learning from Desire to Trade.
You mentioned that you trade the same way for all the market sessions. Do you want to explain how you, what things you tend to look at? Is it price action or what kind of
When
methods?
I'm day trading, yeah, it is, yeah. And I'll link day trading with the red news events because you don't hold with them. You're in and out more often than not. You might hold a position or you might set a trailing stop to be able to take more pips if it's moving nicely and you've got to go off and do something else. But for me, the method is really quite simple. I'll sit down 30 minutes before the London... Let's do London session, for example. I'll sit down 30 minutes before the London session opens. I'll go through my 10 pairs. I trade 10 pairs in the Forex markets, seeing what they've done through the Asian session. And it's that Asian session that gives me the read. It gives me the indication as to whether I'm looking for a trend to the upside, a trend to the downside, or if it's ranging. And I've got 3 different ways of trading those. And just briefly, obviously there's a lot of nuances around it, but from that read, within 30 seconds, I know those 10 pairs exactly how I'm going to trade each one. I'll sit there, wait for the London Open, sometimes start a little bit before the London Open, but once it kicks in, then I know what I'm looking for, and I've got set criteria where I can take a position, take it long if it's on the way up. What I'm really looking for is what's happened during the Asian session, and I'm looking for that to continue going into London. Okay. Doesn't always do it, but working with probabilities and tight risk management, I'll come out on top because it's got the edge as well. So yeah, if I'll get in a position, I'll take it long. I'll be looking for a pullback to take it short. If it's ranging, I'll be looking for a range breakout from the overnight range. And it really is that simple. It's not rocket science. It really isn't that difficult,
Right.
Yeah.
What kind of time frame do you trade? Is it a 5-minute chart or 15 minutes?
All 15 minutes. I don't deviate from that at all. Even on the red news trading, 15-minute chart, and I don't move from anything else. Very, very bland charts. The only indicators I've got on my charts, a spread indicator, which I need to know what the spreads are when the red news event's kicking in.
Yeah.
Because my criteria says I need spreads to drop back to near normalisation before I take a position.
Yeah.
I won't get in if the spread's too high. Plus, when I'm day trading, if I see the spread start to move on any given pair, tells me something might be going on. Some politician or some big financier might have said something and it's getting excited. So I think, I'll watch those and see if anything happens. So there's that as well. I have time left on a candle. I need to know that for when I'm trading my ranges. I need to know how much time there is left on the 15-minute candle. And of course, red news trading. I'm watching that to know exactly when the news is going to kick in. Make sure I don't miss it. And other than that, I've got a line showing where the Tokyo Open was. So I know from the Tokyo Open, moving forward to where I sit down to trade the London session, it's that period of time that I'm looking at to get my read, if you like, to see if it's moving up, moving down, or moving sideways. It really is quite simple.
Yeah.
Not easy, but it's simple.
It comes down to that thing of trading is very simple, but not easy. I think a lot of people would want to apply this and it doesn't work for them. Yeah. What do you think makes it hard or makes it difficult?
Being a human being. Your brain screws you up, it really does. It's it's really quite strange. It's listen, you're given a set of rules. I can give you a good example of this as well. My wife Pook, I did an experiment once regarding trading. Listen, it's not for me to push her back into it, but I'd love her to get involved in trading again, whatever it is. I want her to see what I'm doing with you as well, so she can do that kind of thing, but we'll see how that goes. But we're sitting side by side in London, when we're living in London. I'm trading, and I thought, hang on a minute, I know how difficult it was coming from southeast London, living on my wits all the time, being sharp and in business and get this done and get that done. Getting the mindset right was so difficult for me. If I took a position, it didn't work out. It's like, well, why? It should do. And this is human nature. You don't want to lose. You get fear of missing out. You feel deep despair when you get a number of stops. You feel elation. And I wanted to get on the phone and tell all my mates how great I was when I was winning. But you can't do that. You've got to keep a level. My partner, my wife, growing up in Thailand with a Buddhist background, with a very calm mindset with a very calm mindset, I taught her how to trade that same price action day trading. And she got it in no time. And it was like, she'd take a position and it would stop out. Now with me, I'd be angst, I'd be angry. With Pook, my partner, she would just, okay, all right, what do I do now? And it was like, so be it. It is what it is. That happens. So the hardest thing, really, the extreme hardest thing is getting your head around it. And I realised that, luckily enough, at an early stage, and I focused on that. Trading in the Zone. You must have read Trading in the Zone. If you haven't read Trading in the Zone, you must read it. It is a beautiful, wonderful book, and it gives you a real good insight into the mindset side of things. And I made mindset my specialist subject. 1,001 different strategies out there that you can work with, but none of them work unless you've got the mindset right. So encompassing everything, I focused on mindset, made that my goal, and even now, I can give more to people by talking about mindset. That is my specialist subject, I'd say, in trading. And I made that my specialist subject because I realised it wasn't the rules, it wasn't if this does that, then do this. If this does that, then do that. Anyone can read a set of instructions, but sticking to those rules and sticking with those instructions, if you haven't got the right psychological approach to it, you'll never do it. You'll blow accounts up, you'll make stupid mistakes. And so, yeah, it's got to be the mindset side of it that's the most important part for me. And it was the hardest, it really was, yeah.
But having rules in the first place is good for, I know a lot of people have issues with discipline and they don't have rules in place to really help them, to guide them to what they should be looking for.
Yeah.
Those rules help in the beginning.
Oh, without a doubt, you've got to have those rules. Yeah. Without those rules, and I see it now. I won't mention any names, but I'm talking to a guy in Udantani at the moment. Lovely guy, really is a nice guy. We met them just by chance in town one evening. And he's trading, and he's telling me about this method that he's trading, saying, yeah, really good, da, 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 da. And I never push anything onto anyone. And I sat back, and I always like listening to other traders as well, hearing what they're doing, how they're doing it. You never know. They might have this holy grail, what everyone talks about.
Maybe.
It's just not there. But the thing is, and he was showing me what he was doing. It was successful. And then a few weeks later, I spoke to him. I said, how's that going? He went, oh, well, I've changed that, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. And it was then that I realised he didn't quite have it, and he didn't have his rules set out as he should do. He didn't have a set method. And that's something else as well. Listen, I'm not boosting you or anything, but looking at your courses, it's very methodical. Then do this, then do that. And if you don't understand that, get in touch with us. Send us a message on Slack or whatever. You do need those rules. And so this guy, my friend back in Udon Thani, lovely guy, but he's still very much in the learning stage. He's got to understand that he needs a set of rules. Test that for a while. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's getting to the point where I feel like saying to him, have a look at DTT, have a look at Desire to Trade and see what you think. Just see what you think. You do need those rules set out, and you follow that, and then you work on your own approach to it, your own mindset, your own psychology, to make sure that you do stick with exactly that checklist. And that, along with risk management, you should do it. It should work out all right.
Some people make it where they do better with discretion, but I've not seen a lot of people do that. I prefer like being very mechanical. That's just what works for me better.
Sure.
I think you're pretty much the same way too. You like clear rules, like not much discretion.
Without a doubt. The only thing I will say is the day trading method that I use, and the news trading really, there is a bit of discretion involved regarding the take profit. Now, I work with levels to take profit, but at the same time, you might be sitting here, you might not have much time, and so you might think, okay, that will do. I have this thing. I'll get to a point, that will do, and I'll just cut out of everything. It's not always a good thing, because then, of course, you come back an hour later and you think, I could have made double that. I could have made double that amount. So I wouldn't say it's a fault that I've got. It's just the way that I am and the way my lifestyle is at the moment. But, again, sticking with that, having that discretion, and something else as well. You haven't got a boss looking over your shoulder saying, "Oh, you should be doing that or you should be doing this." You're working with your own mind, your own way of doing things. You're looking at a profit on the screen and thinking, "Okay, that'll do." But realistically, especially when you're starting out, stick with the rules exactly.
Yeah.
Stick with the targets. Go for the targets that are recommended. Work with your stop loss. When you get to a certain amount of profit, pull in, that stop loss becomes a price stop, so you're locking in profit, and just let it ride. That can hurt sometimes as well. You know what it's like. You'll be taking a trade, you'll see it move up and up and up. You could jump out there, think that'll do, but you don't. Not when you're working properly. You move your stop loss up to become a price stop, and then you see a pullback and it comes back and hits that price stop. You could have made that bit more profit. But it is what it is. And you've got to get used to that. And the other thing is as well, losing that bit of money, even taking full stops, losing. I don't know who it was who said it once, but it was something along the lines of, you'll never make a profit until you learn to lose. You've got to learn to lose before you can start making money. And that is so true, it really is.
When you say learn to lose, I think there's a concept that people have issues with too. Like they might think, oh, you just gotta accept the losses. It's tricky. Like, how do you learn to lose? Like, what do you do after you lose?
Well, that's right, because again, we know that, and I've done it. So I'm not this person who's jumped into it and did it all perfect and it's all great. No. You lose and you start over trading. You start to over leverage. You place bigger lot sizes than you should do, and you're breaking your risk management. And it's the worst thing you can do. I am saying don't do it, but I'm not saying you won't do it, because a lot of us, you got to try. Yeah, but he said that, but I'm going to try it anyway. Oh no, I've lost again. Oh, I've got to try a bit more. No, that loss, you're going to get these losses without a doubt, but it's not an overall loss. The bigger picture is what we're looking at. And we're looking at, a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, and seeing how we're doing then. And you're going to see it. It's like this. It's like that graph. I don't know if you've seen it. It's a day in the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're looking at it and it's like, I've got this is good. Oh no, that's not so good. Oh no, look, I've got this now. I'm taking control of this. Oh no, I'm rubbish at this. And that's how it goes. And with trading, you'll get that. It'll go up, profit, a little bit of a loss, bit of a climb, bit of a drawdown. And those drawdowns, don't let them rule your life. Don't let them rule the way you trade. It's part of it. It's part of the game. It's part of this thing that we do. Those drawdowns, those losses, obviously you start to see something seriously wrong in a drawdown, then you've got to stop, maybe hold on for a minute and look at what you're doing, reassess what you're doing. But all the time, it doesn't matter how long you've been trading for, you'll see losses, but keeping those losses under control, and the overall picture should be an upward climb.
As a full-time trader, do you ever doubt your skills? Do you ever think that you're not good enough or you don't have the skills anymore?
No, I'm too cocky. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not. I'm joking, really. No, I don't doubt it at all.
Yeah.
It's been so long now. I feel like an old timer. I am an old timer, but in trading since 2015.
Yeah.
No, not at all. You get to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, you kind of accept it. I'll give you an example on that as well. I'm using one of your indicators with my Bitcoin fund now.
Yeah.
So I've still got Bitcoin, okay, and I was one of those, just leave it, buy and hold, because I did all that buying, selling. I did all that years ago and did okay with it. It was a lot easier then, believe me. But now I'm using your Heikin-Ashi indicator, part of it, not all of it, part of it, and I'm seeing great success with that. Now the thing is, when the indicator shows green, I'll simply get in. I'll convert from USDT into Bitcoin. When it turns red, this morning I've seen a red indicator, I've got out and I've put it back into USDT. So just converting between Bitcoin and USDT, it's within the same broker, Binance, and you don't get charged massive fees. There's a slight spread difference and they make their money that way. But by doing that, it's working all right. But I got back in 2-3 days ago, I saw a green signal, got in, watched it come down, Bitcoin dropped $3,000 the first day for one Bitcoin. Yeah. And you just have to accept it. And am I sitting there beating myself up, worried about it? Of course I'm not. And don't think I'm rich enough to throw $3,000 away, but it is what it is. And I'll get in, get out, get in, get out. And overall, I'm seeing a climb.
It's also a good reminder that strategies don't work all the time perfectly well. Like there's times where some strategies outperform, they do really well. Yeah. Other times where other strategies perform better, and having a mix helps for that. But it's also never going to be like always perfect and always like the same win rate all the time.
That's why I see the Slack community. So you become a member of Desire to Trade. You sign up for one of the methods, and being in that group, in that Slack community, you got people to bounce off of. And if a strategy is not working out so well, you'll see it. You'll see guys talking about it, and maybe they'll be looking at other things, or maybe tweaking it. You or Alex will decide that might need tweaking a little bit, and you're a part of that. You're a part of that family, if you like, and you've got access to that information. So yeah, it's not a case of this is what it is, and we're never ever changing it. There will be movements, there will be changes in the way that you're trading it, even if it's only slightly. But being a part of the Slack membership and being part of the Slack group, it will give you access and be able to find out about that. So yeah, sure, you can't rest on your laurels. You can't think, this is easy, Even though I've not studied it yet, the set and forget method that you're using, even with that, I'm imagining set and forget, sure. But at the same time, keep an eye on Slack, see what's going on there, just in case it does start to change a little bit, the numbers change a little bit, and you'll have the information there, and any adjustments that are made, you can make them, and it just keeps you on top of the game. Yeah,
it's also good feedback and good comfort too. You see people that might have the same issues as you, and it's totally normal, and you kind of have some support for that.
That's right, yeah.
And you go back and some people are doing better, and it's good comfort. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it works, it really does. That's something else that I'll quickly mention, is that trading can seem lonely. And you might think, what? You're sitting there, you're trading, and then you go off and you're walking around Bangkok, or you're sitting in some high-rise, beautiful mansion block, but it can be lonely. The time that you're actually working, don't forget, you've got to do a bit of work, whether it be studying while you're learning about it or learning new methods. Whatever it is, you need to focus on that, and that's a lonely period. You're working at home. You're not going into an office environment that a lot of people are used to, that a lot of people thrive on. You're there. You could be in a spare room in your house, and you're on your own. So that loneliness can be, well, it's insular, and it can be quite grating for some people. It can be wearing. So again, being part of a group, being part of a membership helps with that, I think.
Yeah. it's also hard to get satisfaction from trading. I don't know if you feel the same way. Like when you have a good month or a good trade, like you feel good for 5 seconds, then you kind of back to normal after.
That's gone. Yeah, that's right.
You don't like really feel good. You don't see much results. You don't really get satisfied from it.
I'll do a few laps of the garden, shouting and cheering, but the neighbours look at me thinking I'm crazy, so I'll give it up. No, you're right. Absolutely right. You'll have those wins, but then hang on a minute. Next, okay, bit of a drawdown there, and then that's forgotten. But that's okay. Okay. But again, posting it on Slack, you'll get people recognising that and giving you a thumbs up and saying, well done. And that really does help. Listen, I don't care who you are. You do something good or you're successful at something, it is nice to hear it. Get a slap on the back from someone.
Yeah.
It really does make a difference. And that is what it is. Without a membership, without a group to be able to refer to and chat with, you are on your own. And you do well and it's like, oh, okay. You tell the wife, I've done really well. She says, okay, whatever. Carries on with the hoovering or washing or whatever, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, that communal thing I think is very important, really important. And it will help in the journey, I'm sure it will.
Yeah. You can see more videos from Kevin. It's going to be on the channel. You can see his videos coming up in a few days. It's pretty much one every week from now on.
Yep.
A lot of good stuff to learn from him. If you want to see him also in his lifestyle in Thailand, he has a whole channel which we'll put on the screen somewhere here. You can check it out. And I really appreciate your time here, Kevin. It's been fun to chat with you and fun to kind of see the behind the scenes a little bit. And also people can learn from you and check out how you help us with this trade.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been fantastic. Nice seeing you again, Etienne. It's been too long.
Definitely. Awesome.
See you again.